All right, it's 29 degrees out. It's been raining. Welcome to the show, by the way. Bandit's rule of the roads. It's 29 degrees out. It's been misting slash drizzling all morning. I've got ice buildup on my mirrors, my antennas, my wiper blades. If I don't keep my defrosters on high, it's building up on the windshields. I've got a white big truck coming up in the left lane to pass me. I can't tell. I don't believe he has his headlights on, but I'll show you what I see here in the mirror. Can you see it? Probably not, because I can barely see it. Okay, we got some cars going around here. So I'm going to mount you here so that I don't run into any technical difficulties. You're going to see the windshield wipers. Hope they don't bug you too much. I've already seen a couple of big trucks in the median. Oh boy, we're slowing way down. What the hell, buddy? Okay. So this is one of them days that it's great to be a truck driver. It's supposed to get worse as the day progresses. This is I-80 in Iowa. West of Iowa City, between Iowa City and Des Moines. I'm headed westbound. As the day progresses, it's supposed to turn over to snow, and some of these places out here are supposed to get 5 to 8 inches of snow. Now, if the salt trucks stay out and keep up with the freezing rain, we shouldn't have a whole lot of problems today. Once tonight comes and the snow starts coming down fast, it could be interesting, but I'm hoping that by the time I go and deliver and come back out here empty, they have continued the dumping of the salt. Otherwise, it's going to be a really fun ride home, which I will record because that's what I'm here for, is your guys' entertainment. But yeah, I'm sure the windshield wipers are probably driving you nuts. I don't know if I can get out around this guy so I can slow him down a little bit. Let's see what happens here. But for those of you who don't know, big trucks are very bad on snow and ice. This guy right here who's bobtailing, all the weight of his truck is up on the steer axle. That's, well, obviously not all the weight, but most of the weight. That's where the cab is, that's where the engine is, and that's most of the weight. Back here on his drive axles that are pushing him, there is hardly any weight. And that, you understand, just like a pickup truck, where you have to put salt in the back, or sandbags in the back of your pickup truck to have some traction. Yeah, we can't do that. We hope that we have loads on, very heavily loaded trailers on the back of our big trucks when we're out in this kind of weather, which right now I do. I have about 44,000 pounds of liquid in this tanker. So I'm okay, and when I go back, at least I'm not going to be bobtailing or like that guy without a trailer. I'm going to have a trailer on, so there's going to be a little bit of weight on my drives. Not as bad as bobtailing, not as good as being fully loaded, but you really got to watch it, especially on ice. I have been out on ice before where the roads have turned over to ice, and I've been going up a hill empty, and my drives just kick out to the side. I've got to back out of the gas and crawl up the hill. But it's just one of the many things that we deal with out here as truck drivers. So when people are running around without their headlights on, or running around like idiots and you know, trying to do 85 mile an hour on a day like today and in and out of traffic and stuff like that. It does not help. There goes a salt shaker the other way. Love them guys. Thank you very much for being out here, good buddy. Yeah, if it wasn't for them out here today, I wouldn't be doing this today. There's no way. This would all be froze up by now. And I got out at a rest area back there a ways and had to walk in, take a leak. I about fell on my ass. The sidewalks were horrifically slippery, and luckily the roads, either still residual salt from the last snowstorm, or they've gotten in and out and with salt trucks this time around already. But everything's just wet. If you can see the spray, it's a good rule of thumb. You see the spray coming off of this guy's tires. Okay, if you see spray like that, you're normally good to go. You're normally okay. That means it's all water on the pavement. When somebody like this passes you and you see the glaze on the road and you don't see any spray like that, get ready, be careful, be cautious. That means everything is frozen up. It's an ice skating rink. I've been sideways in my truck, in a truck, a big truck, twice in my life. Scary stuff. Had to change my underwear both times. One, I was coming empty with a flatbed out of Fargo, North Dakota, and heading back to St. Paul, where my terminal was at the time. And it was misting like this, and the temperature was right on the bubble. Had spray coming out of the tires and everything else in North Dakota. I got about 30 miles into Minnesota on I-94, heading back down to St. Paul, and there was no more spray. And I had slowed down. I normally ran about 75 mile an hour up that way. I had slowed down to about 65, and I was coming up behind two van trailers, just like right up ahead of me right now. And it was about this distance. And suddenly, they both started sliding sideways down the road. And at the same time, I started sliding sideways down the road. And it is just like a car. I popped the tranny out of gear. I didn't touch the brake. I didn't touch the gas. I turned into the skid. The problem is these are such big and heavy vehicles that once you start turning back the other way, then you're skidding the other way. And this, you got to turn back into that skid. You got to do it about 3 or 4 times. The amazing part, because I thought by the time everything was said and done, we were doing about 20 miles an hour, all 3 of us. And I truly thought this was what a 3-truck pileup in the middle of nowhere was going to look like. And I kept looking around my truck to see what was loose and was going to crack me in the head when we rolled over. By the time I got straightened out, I looked up, and both the vans ahead of me were pretty much straightened out. And like I said, we were doing about 20 miles an hour. I had nowhere to be. There's a truck in the ditch over on the other side, if you can see it or not. I had nowhere to be. Oh, it's a pickup truck pulling a big trailer and a 4-wheeler. And boy, he hit that sign. Anyway, I had nowhere to be, so I caught the very next ramp. I was going to pull over and nap until the morning, until the salt trucks came out. I got to the top of the ramp, started hitting my brakes, and I slid completely through. Thank God it was like 3 in the morning and there was no traffic. I slid completely through the stop sign, over the road, and started sliding down the get-on ramp to get back on the interstate. And I did not want to do that. So I let off on the brakes, turned my wheel just a little bit towards the ditch to catch the deep snow that was along the shoulder. As soon as my front wheel caught the deep snow, it pulled me in and slowed me down. And there I slept. There I slept for about 6 hours. I woke up at about 9 o'clock in the morning, and I saw all the traffic that was, heading to work and everything was doing about, I don't know, 30, 35 miles an hour. I saw a bunch of salt trucks and sand trucks out, and people were still doing about 35 miles an hour. So I got up, woke up, and started heading towards St. Paul at 35 mile an hour with the rest of them. And thank God, after about, I don't know, about 45, 50 miles, we came out of that band of freezing rain. And from there on home, or back to St. Paul, the roads were dry. But I'll never forget that. It was a scary, scary feeling. Glad I made it through. Glad nothing got hurt. Those other two drivers did well. Because if one of them would have tangled up with the other one, or if one of them would have caught, a guardrail or something and flipped over or just smashed up, and I would have had to stop, it wouldn't have happened. I would have ran right into him. So thank goodness the other two drivers out there knew what they were doing. That was actually my first time. Scared the crap out of me, but instinct kicks in. So there's a car in the median right there. The other time I was coming up 4-lane Highway 61 from between Macomb and Monmouth in Illinois, and I had some coils on out of St. Louis, and it was very slushy out. It wasn't completely icy, but it was very slushy out. And the same thing happened. I started sliding sideways. Did the same thing. Popped it out of gear, didn't touch the brake, didn't touch the gas, steered into it. Was actually completely sideways across both lanes, and was coming up on a bridge with, pretty good size guardrails on both sides of it. A little bridge, like over a creek. But anyway, I again thought, well, here we go. If I'm going to be sideways across the whole thing, I'm going to catch one of these guardrails, either in the front or the back. It's going to want to flip me around, possibly flip me over. Steering into it and letting the thing naturally slow down is the trick. And I come out of it, okay. Got up the road a little ways at a four-way stop, pulled over on the shoulder, and went to bed. That's the other thing I'm going to tell you guys. I know on the last show I said I wasn't going to talk down to anybody or tell everybody I know what's better and what's going on, but these are life experiences that I hope to help you with. And if it's bad out, especially with ice, it doesn't matter if you got four-wheel drive, doesn't matter how much sand you got in the back. When it's ice, there's not a damn thing you can do about it. Pull over and stop. Take a nap. Stop and eat a meal somewhere. Hope that they get the salt trucks out. Because if they get the salt trucks out, you're good to go. Unless it's raining so hard and freezing so hard that they can't keep up. But on a day like today, they keep pulling the salt out here. We ought to be good. So anyway, I would like to say one more thing here off of the trucking and off of the bad weather scheme. So there's a good friend of mine, Mike Van Zuiden in Fulton, Illinois. His son Trae is a 16-year-old boy. That's Trae Van Zuiden is a 16-year-old boy who is a friend of my son's. Played different sports with him. He's been over to my house swimming. He's a good kid. Oh, we got cops are with somebody here. Sorry to interrupt the story, but you just got to be careful. So there's somebody that must have just went into that. Yep. So anyway, Trae is a very good kid, and he's been over to our house swimming a few times. For birthday parties and such, and he just recently got diagnosed with lymphoma, It was a very fast diagnosis. He was in a lot of pain. The local hospital misdiagnosed it the first time around, and then they got it diagnosed correctly and did a CAT scan and got it to an oncologist out in Iowa City at Steadfast Children's Hospital in Iowa City. They got him out there, and the very next day he was in surgery, and they did a spinal tap, they did bone marrow tap, and put in a PICC line and such. Now, this kid is a good kid. He's fighting hard. He's had chemo treatments already, and this, by the way, has only been about 3 days since he's been out there. So his dad has had different heart problems, and I don't know the details of them, but I do know that he has not been working, and he also cannot drive legally. So his mom, who is a school teacher, has had to take off work and be out there with him, and they'll be out in the hospital for a couple of weeks. There is a GoFundMe set up. These are good friends of mine. They are good people. They need our help. I don't care if everybody sends $5. They won't care either. Every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. I know times are hard, but I just went through with my kidney being removed and having a month off of work. Somebody set up a GoFundMe in my name, and I wouldn't have got through this. Me and Lori would not have gotten through this without that GoFundMe. And it made a world of difference on concentrating on getting better versus, oh God, what bills are we going to pay? Are we going to get gas shut off? Are we going to be able to eat? So GoFundMe, you know, if everybody just gave a little bit to everybody that was in hard times, it'll come back to you. I promise you. So please hit up the GoFundMe for Trae, Trae Van Zuiden. That's a picture of him and his family. He's a football player, Fulton, Illinois. Please hit up the GoFundMe. Donate $5 if you got it. And if you don't, prayers anyway. We need this kid to fight off this horrible disease and get back to a normal life. Please. I love you all. Have a great day, and God bless.